Playing Mahjong for hours might not be due to your poor skills. Today's story comes from a netizen named Nightingale. This lady is already in her 50s. The story took place when she was in her 30s. At that time, a good friend of the lady disappeared. One morning, the lady and her friend went to visit this friend. As she left, she noticed a black and white photo of a young man on the tombstone next to her friend. It was a pity that the young man was very handsome, and the lady couldn't help but comment. What a pity that such a handsome young man is gone, so young. Then she went back with her friend. At that time, the lady ran a chess and card room with 6 private rooms that were always full, and it was quite hard to take care of the business. Fortunately, there were a few tables of acquaintances in the afternoon that day, and the lady was busy preparing to take a nap. She had a mahjong table in the room where some good friends were playing cards, and the lady fell asleep on the bed. After sleeping for a while, she suddenly felt her hair very tight, as if it was grabbed. Looking back, it was a black and white shadow with an unclear face. The lady also saw a man and a woman standing next to the shadow. These two people looked very strange, their faces were clear, but both had no expressions. She only heard the black shadow say, "Didn't you say I was handsome? Didn't you say it was a pity I've come to sleep with you, and you clean up the bed?" After saying this, the black shadow pulled the lady's hair and pulled it in, while the two expressionless people were tidying up the pillows, quilts, beds, etc. They moved very quickly, running back and forth like lightning. During that time, the lady was struggling and cursing, but it was of no use. After tidying up, the black shadow was preparing to lie down. At this time, the lady thought of her friends playing cards next to her and shouted one of her best girlfriends named Ma Ping, "Ma Ping, Ma Ping, save me quickly." She kept shouting. Ma Ping, dressed in red, looked at her sister and was about to get up. At this time, another friend playing cards said, "Oh, she's too tired, staying up late every day, let her have a good sleep, take a rest, it's probably a dream, don't worry." So Ma Ping sat down and continued to play cards. At this time, the black shadow turned his head and looked at Ma Ping and said, "Let the person in red not to win the word paste should be win." Those two people who were making the bed flashed past and followed behind Ma Ping. Later, the lady kept struggling. Finally, she struggled hard. She sat up abruptly, and she woke up. Just as the lady was panting, she heard Ma Ping say a word. She finally won a round after more than 4 hours. What bad luck. The lady thought she had a nightmare, which scared her. Was it such a coincidence? However, she still went to those friends to find out whether it was a dream or something really happened. Then she said, "Why didn't you call me just now? Didn't you hear me calling that good girlfriend?" Ma Ping wanted to say that I wanted to call you. Ah, Lao Zhang said you were too tired, and didn't let me call when having a nightmare. The lady was very surprised because what Ma Ping said was exactly the same as what she saw in her dream. Then, the lady told everyone about her experience, which scared those people who were playing cards. And her best friend Ma Ping, since the lady woke up, the cards were also very smooth, and she won continuously. At the end of the night, the lady couldn't sleep alone, so she asked Ma Ping to sleep with her. That night was fine, but since she woke up, she was in pain all over. The lady was in her 30s at the time and knew some things. The next morning, she asked her friend to find some peach branches for her. She bought a lot of incense, candles, and paper money, and ran to the place where her friend was not there with Ma Ting. After saying these words, she said, "Sister, I didn't know yesterday. I said the wrong thing. Your neighbor, there is no name on the monument. You help me tell him well. I didn't mean it. Let him not come to me. After that, she ran to the monument of the handsome guy next door. Handsome guy, I was cheap yesterday, I slapped my mouth, you take the money to spend. Please leave quickly. I'm not in good health. So after saying these things, the lady still felt uncomfortable all over, so she took the peach branch and let this best friend Ma Ting should be Ma Ting whip her. She whipped for 20 minutes, and she felt much better. So this story tells us two things. First, don't talk nonsense, especially in some special places. Second, if you don't win the game, it's not necessarily because of poor skills. Well, see you in the next story.